What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to the Warframe video. So today we're going over a question I get a lot on stream. It's who's the next Prime, what weapons will they have, and also who's getting vaulted next. So we'll be going over all that stuff, basically the Prime after Baruch Prime came out in like December. Additionally, we'll be talking about like how those weapons did over the course of their life cycle they're getting vaulted, and the potential of the new weapons being how good they might be. Before we get into it though, make sure you're subbed to this channel. We do daily Warframe video uploads, everything from build guides, news videos, farming guides, etc, etc. So if you enjoy Warframe content, definitely consider hitting that sub button because we do a lot here. Also, we have a live stream channel as well. We live later tonight. Probably not with Warframe tonight. I've got some other variety games going on, but we'll be back with Warframe probably tomorrow. Just farming. Farm a lot, turns out. Alright, so the next Prime to be released as a, rather the next frame to be released as a Prime, in chronological order, it usually goes in, we're going to be getting Hildryn Prime, okay? So, the thing about Hildryn is that she's actually a very unique frame. She does not use energy. As you can see, 0 energy. Just like Anaros has 0 shields, she has 0 energy instead. And the way that she casts abilities, she drains her massive shield bar. So, abilities that give you more shield will be nice on her. Usually don't want to run a Decaying Dragon Key on her, but I think I do have it equipped anyway. Decaying Dragon Key gives you reduced shield, but yeah, she can remove enemy armor and shields with her pillage and like drain them into herself. Balefire Launcher is basically just an exalted, like kind of like AoE pistol, I guess I'd call it. And Haven is damage over time, and also shield recharge buffs for her or her teammates. Her fourth ability is usually not really used that much. It's going to be like, I think it's called Aegis Storm. You fly into the air, and you basically CC enemies, but you drain your shield really fast. The problem with this ability, and if they're going to buff Hildryn at all for the Hildryn Prime access, that will likely come out in like around March, because Baruch Prime came out December 14th, and they usually wait about 2.5 to 3 months before the next one comes out. So expect this in like late February or like mid-March, honestly, is when you can expect Hildryn Prime to come out. But yeah, if they're going to buff Hildryn at all before she comes out, I think her 4 needs to be looked at a little bit. This actually makes it so you cannot cast her pillage, armor removal, and shield restore ability in her 4. You can cast her 1 and her 3, but not her 2. So that is kind of annoying. Also, when you land out of this, as it drains your shield, when your shield's all drained, you land. It's an extremely long landing animation. But she's a pretty powerful frame. She's a frame you can actually not even bother with modding for efficiency or duration for. So you can just jam every crazy power strength mod you want. I haven't played her much recently, but yeah, you can definitely jam a bunch of crazy stats on her. Additionally, Hildryn did have a signature weapon that came out, but it's also a kind of weird one. You got the Arcwing Gun, the Larkspur. This is Hildryn's signature weapon, and I mean, they are making Prime versions of, Arcwing Guns nowadays, but I feel like it would be a kind of weird Prime access, because when we get into the final point about Hildryn I want to go over here, you'll be like, okay, maybe there is going to be something different this time. So, yeah, Larkspur, it's pretty much like a Ghostbuster blaster. It's a beam laser, or a beam gun that can, like, chain between enemies. For an Arcwing Gun, it's pretty powerful, but at the same time, Arcwing Guns are lacking some of the extremely powerful mods that primaries have. As you can see, the strongest multi-shot mod that Arcwing Guns have is Dual Rounds, which is 60%. So, you could technically get a Riven, but this thing does not have great Riven stats either. So, that's unfortunate, but it should be a pretty fun one. Maybe buff that crit chance, buff that crit damage, things of that nature. But here's the thing. Okay, so she came with 1 signature weapon. They're going to have to find some filler item to throw in there with Hildryn. But what are they going to choose? As far as some ideas, some people have speculated it will be a Prime version of a Sentinel. But doesn't that sound like a weird Prime access? A frame, a Arcwing Gun, and a Sentinel? I think it's going to have to be an actual normal weapon. But if they were to prime a Sentinel, as far as Sentinels that could be primed, I guess technically Prisma Shade, or Normal Shade, could have a Prime version, I suppose. We have Diriga. I think Diriga is technically it's like a Grenier Sentinel kind of, but we're using it, so the Tenno can use it. Maybe a Diriga Prime, and maybe Oxalis, the guy the Sentinel that scans all the plants and stuff. We're kind of running out of Sentinels to Prime, to be honest, so we'll see. There's also Worm Prime already exists. I don't know. They're going to have to, if they're going to do a Sentinel, it's not going to be a great Prime access. So as far as other weapons they could go for, they could make the Ac Magnus Prime, but I think that would be kind of a waste of a Prime access slot, because we already have the Magnus Prime Singular. They should make it where Baro Katir has relics for the Ac Magnus Prime that is still not in the game. I'm going to say this every time I predict a Prime Access. I would really like a Daikyu Prime. If it's going to be an underwhelming Prime Access as far as the Arcwing gun's concerned, maybe making a crazy bow that does tons of damage. It's not really Hildryn's playstyle, really, to use a bow like that. I always envision her to have like a crazy gigantic shotgun, but Exorcist Prime is not allowed. So Daikyu Prime could finally be good, I suppose. Like, now is as good a time as ever if you're going to need a random weapon to throw in there to throw in the Daikyu Prime, which would have crazy stats, I believe. I mean, the base stats are already a 34% crit chance on 46% status with 700 base damage. So it would be nasty. It would basically be like a railgun bow. So yeah, that's who's becoming the new frame. Expect, of course, a build guide on that, and expect it, like I said, late February, mid-March. Now, who is getting vaulted with Hildryn Prime coming out potentially around that time frame I just told you? Well, it's actually a frame that doesn't even feel that old to me, but that must mean I just have played the game for a really long time. It's going to be Gara Prime. It doesn't feel like she's been out that long, but I guess she has. And unfortunately for Gara, I'm not really playing her much nowadays. I find her extremely annoying to play because the way that her damage abilities work. Let's just get a build that has no helminth on it, if I even have one. Okay, well, we technically don't have a setup with helminth, so we'll just go with this one right here, a build I was working on for a new video. So, the way that her abilities work is basically you put the second ability on yourself. It covers you in glass that can actually damage enemies that get nearby you. But the duration is not going to refresh. The way you refresh the duration for the second ability, which you want to keep going because it stacks up damage over the course of the mission if you do it right, is you cast a 2, then you cast her 4. Casting her 4 refreshes the duration of her 2. Are you still with me? Once that 4th ability wall goes out, to build damage on her 2 to get more damage, you have to go outside of that ring and then detonate the ring with her 1. So to get her duration refreshed and to stack damage, you need to use 3 different abilities. So that basically means you only have 1 ability you are allowed to choose to remove on Helminth, and most people choose her 3rd ability, Spectral Rage, to remove with Helminth, even though it has a pretty good augment. So all these annoying things you have to do, and if you walk into one nullifier bubble, you stacking that damage for however long over the course of the mission is instantly gone. If you fall into a bottomless pit or whatever, instantly gone. That million damage you stacked over the mission, gone. So that's a little bit annoying. And I mean, she can do some good damage in nuke. I mean, with this build, with all the things stacked up, it's like, thousands and thousands and thousands of damage, nuke damage, in a huge range. So 39 meter explosion radius on this Gara build, it's missing a mod slot technically, but it is almost maximum range too. So she's getting vaulted, and her weapons are also going to be vaulted. I'd say the weapons are, they're passable, to be honest. I like the Astilla Prime. It's like a slug launching shotgun thing, and I find it fun to use. But the problem with this thing is that it's always felt underwhelming. And when you're in the actual mission, it just doesn't feel that great. It's supposed to be multi-target, but the AOE and the explosion, I don't even know how. It's really small. 2.4 range. It technically is AOE, but you are not going to notice it that much. But it has lots of damage numbers, technically. 3,000 on the explosion, and then 1,300 on the impact. And, of course, this thing does have impact, puncture, and slash. You can get lots of CO potential out of it. But, I'm not using it that much. I have 2 rivets for it for some reason, but this one's just because it has a ton of multi-shot and fire rate. And this one, I probably should just get rid of, honestly. So, a relatively okay weapon. It has nice visual effects and sound effects. But, it's nothing meta. It's not meta-defining at all, and it's technically just replaceable. I'd say the Trumna is more important than this thing for sure. And that thing will never get vaulted. And the last weapon that will get vaulted is actually one of my biggest failures ever on the channel. It is the Volnus Prime. If you've been watching the channel for a while, you might have remembered I predicted this thing to become one of the new best melees in the game. And I feel like DE just made it bad in spite of me or something, because this thing is not that great. It has all the stuff that would sound great. Oh, it's a slash-focused hammer. It's got good attack speed. Blah, blah, blah. It can be great for slash procs. And then you look and you compare it to, like, things with high base, or the other hammers. There's a search hammers right here. It's got some of the lowest stats out of these things. Like, it's got less base damage than the Fragor Prime. It's got more attack speed than the Fragor Prime. The Fragor Prime has double the crit chance. It has a much higher crit multiplier, and it has less status chance, but who really cares, right? If this thing had crazy crit stats to back up that slash weighting, it would be really disgusting. And the Archititron also has a lot more base damage. It technically has more base damage than the Jack-Katag, I guess. But the Jack-Katag even has a better crit multiplier for some reason. So I don't know. I don't know why they had to make it not that great. I tried to make it good. I think I might even still have a Riven. Nope, that Riven got deleted. It wasn't worth the Riven slot at all. So, you know, it looks cool at least. It doesn't have any special gimmicks. Like, I was really saying, when this thing came out, it needed a special gimmick. These weapons were underwhelming at launch, and over the course of the Volnus Prime's life cycle, it really never accomplished anything, unfortunately. So, here we are with the Volnus Prime and the empty slot for the Riven I deleted, and I would say the same to you. It's pretty much just mastery fodder, which is unfortunate because it seemed like it would be so good. A slash-focused hammer. Hammers have really high base damage usually. This stance Crushing Ruin usually, as you can see in the picture for the stance, the Rhino is swinging that at head level. This can get headshots a lot of the time with the stance of Crushing Ruin. So it was set for success, but then the stats just weren't buffed enough, and it had no special gimmicks, so who even cares? So, yeah, Gara's getting vaulted probably around like late February or early March, and Hildryn Prime is coming out. So if you guys enjoyed this, let me know what your predictions are for Hildryn's extra weapon. Will it be some random shoe-in weapon like the Daikyu or the Ak Magnus, or will they maybe try something more creative with maybe even trying to prime something that doesn't usually get primed, like a Corpus weapon or something. So, either way, guys, I'll see you later tonight on stream, and I'll also see you tomorrow with another video. Appreciate all the support, and take it easy. Peace!